we usually get low-scoring affairs. But I feel like there are some sabotage factors this year, Jenks. So we got the starting lineups for the teams this year. And some of the best names in the American League, the guys that I was looking at saying, hey, look at these pitchers. Look at this roster. Man, it's good. So Garrett Crochet is going to be replaced by Casey Mize. Max Fried is going to be replaced by Carlos Rodon. Jacob deGrom is going to be replaced by Carlos Estevez. And Hunter Brown is going to be replaced by Joe Ryan. So let me ask you, did you think of betting a total here? Do you see some red flags, or do you stand firm on the under, or you go in the other direction and say, hey, I think they're going to hit a bunch of homers?
I think I just have to go with the under here. I understand, and you make a very good point about you're not getting necessarily the best of the best in Major League Baseball. But also, when you look at how All-Star games work, these batters generally don't get a second look at a pitcher, right? Which gives the advantage to the pitcher. It's usually one and done. Also, look at the trends here. I understand that the odds makers have certainly adjusted, but still, the under is hit in 14 of the last 17 All-Star games. That's really hard to ignore. What's crazy is you normally see in a game that would feature Tariq Skubal and Paul Skeens, if they were starters pitching, 5-6 innings, this number would be at 6 and a hook. It would be lower than 7. But obviously they're going to go an inning or two at most. And so that just does give the advantage to the pitchers here. You could go under 7.5 at minus 140, but then I feel like why even lay the juice there, right? I think ultimately, and then underrated is just not, it's not something you want to lay the juice on. It's just too cost prohibitive. So I think you just go under 7 and play the trends here. I don't know if this is going to be one of my bets or not. I'm still trying to figure out a way to play this. I'm trying to pull the old Chelsa messenger and be creative here, but I would still go with the under. You can make a case for you can make a case for it, but I would rather stick with the trends and go under.
All right, so let's get creative, Jenks. So I found a first 5 under 4 for minus 130. Because I think the handicap for me is that some of these better named pitchers are being taken out. But still, like the first few pitchers out of the gate, I think are going to be really good. I don't know how long of a leash it's going to be for Paul Skeens and Tariq Skubal, but I think we can count on them for 2 pretty good innings. And I will say, just to, give some credence to the other side, is that we do have 2 all-star lineups going here. And I will say this, I didn't know this until last night, that apparently the Braves Park is the 3rd highest elevation park in baseball. Did you know that?
Really?
It's not that high, but because of where it is in Atlanta, it's 1,000 feet above sea level, because most stadiums are right at sea level. So you have Colorado, which is way high. It's obviously the Mile High City. They showed a graph and Colorado's way up here. Then it goes Arizona at 1,500, then Atlanta at 1,000. So my point being is that the ball travels pretty well there. And I think we saw that in the home run derby. Maybe it was just O'Neal Cruz hitting at 513 or whatever. But that just makes me nervous, because normally when I bet on something, I want all the factors to line up. So I'm saying I like the under. I just don't like it as much as I have in years past. But back to my original question, first 5 under 4 minus 130. Do we like that better?
That's a good call. Yeah, you're talking me into that. Well, I think this is what I'm going to... if you're betting an under, I'd go that. I'd do that instead, right? Because you're getting Skeens and Skubal. I mean, they're not going to go 5 innings, as we talked about.
No.
But I do think if there's a chance for runs being scored, it's going to be later in the game, right? Doesn't it have to be? When you get away from the top tier pitchers, and you're not moving down to mid tier, but do you know what I mean? You start with the guys who are the best of the best, and then you slowly, you work in other starters who've been great, and you come with the closers, and I think that's the way to go. Because if there's going to be runs, it's going to be later on in the game when these batters have been warmed up a little bit, and you don't necessarily have the best of the best going for you on either side. So I like that a lot.
Because I think my biggest question is, what else are you betting on in this game? Do you know what I'm saying? Because, we have to bet on something today. So, this is me trying to find something. Because when it comes to picking a side, I don't know. I feel like there's not really – it's a coin flip. And I think it's priced as such. Even though at BetMGM, American League is minus 105, National League is 115.
Ooh.
So, like, I don't know. I just, like, what would be the reasoning? Like, you can't look at the roster and like, oh, this roster is, like, noticeably better. Even though you look at the National League roster and I think offensively they have maybe the better bats, or maybe it's just the bigger brand names, because it just looks like basically the Dodgers. So here's going to be the starting lineup. It's going to go Ohtani leadoff, Ronald Acuna Jr. in the 2 spot, Ketel Marte in the 3 hole, Freddie Freeman, Manny Machado, Will Smith, Kyle Tucker, Francisco Lindor, Pete Crow Armstrong is batting last. Like, that is a very good lineup. When Pete Crow Armstrong is your, final batter, that just shows the strength of this lineup. So it's not that the American League doesn't have, like, good hitters either, because, I mean, the back-to-back, duo of Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh, that'll make me nervous about the under a little bit. So I just feel like there's nothing else to play. Like, you could do strikeout props on Paul Skeens and Tariq Skubal, but how long are they going to be going? Like, the number's 1.5 for Paul Skeens. If you take the over, it's plus 200. Under 1.5 strikeouts is minus 275. Tariq Skubal, same line, but it's plus 150 for the over, minus 200 for the under. So you need a guy to strike out like 2 of the 3 batter he faces, which is in the realm of possibility, but it's just not something I want to bet on.
Yeah, me neither. It's tough to find markets that work here. Maybe you find some sort of combination of bets, which is probably what I'm going to do, and maybe look here. I also think it's funny when people try and make a case for a side. Although I will say, I think the National League, and you went through it, definitely has the better lineup. And how do you, at the same time, reconcile the fact that the American League has won 10 out of the last 11 games? That's, like, you would think because this is so evenly matched that it would be pretty close. Like, all time, the record is pretty even. But, man, over the past decade, the American League has dominated, and there's no real reason for it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like playing roulette, and you keep thinking, well, eventually the National League's going to hit here, but that's not how it works. But I can't make a case for either side. I think you don't bet at all. Your first 5 under is a nice bet, or you maybe make a combination of bets here and then reduce the juice.
Well, and another thing that I think needs talking about is, like, people love to bet on, like, the All-Star Game MVP. Talk about a crapshoot market. Like, that's not something I want to bet on. Like, when somebody's only batting a couple times, and you're like, okay, this guy needs to get, the RBI double or whatever. And, like, looking at the list of previous award winners, it's been like a hodgepodge of, like, mid-tier names to big names to people you've never heard of. Like, in 2023, Elias Diaz of the Rockies won the All-Star Game MVP. Last year was Jarren Duran, who I'm not saying is a bad player. It's just kind of came out of nowhere. Giancarlo Stanton, that's a big name. Vladdy Jr. Shane Bieber as a pitcher won it in 2019. So it's just kind of all over the board. And again, that's not what I'm looking for when I want to bet on something.